Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the NSC Wrestling and Gaming Podcast. I am your host, Chris Canfield, aka Big C.
And your co-host, John C., aka The Natural. We're bringing it to you for a SmackDown recap this morning.
Absolutely. So, yesterday was the go home show before SummerSlam. This is the second time we've had a two-night SummerSlam. And it's been really building up here the last couple of weeks, especially with Cody and Punk, Oba and Brock. And then we had the twist of the intern women's world heavyweight champion, Aldis and Gunther, the number one contenders match between Balor and Sami Zayn, Brock and Seth. I mean, it seems like a pretty packed card, and the go home show really didn't disappoint too much. We had a promo right off the bat there with Finn Balor, who got interrupted by Sami Zayn, who then got interrupted by Gunther. During that, we seen Nick Aldis come out, who I must say is still looking quite fine. Like he's definitely kept himself in shape from like his old Magnus days in TNA and as the national treasure in NWA. Come out there and start laying a whooping on Gunther. I'm kind of excited for that match itself. It's been building up for the past several weeks between Gunther and Nick Aldis. A lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, going after that authority figure. And to know that they're actually going to have a match, and I believe this is Nick Aldis' first time wrestling in like 3 years in an actual ring. First time ever in a WWE ring. Going against someone who doesn't lose too often cleanly in the WWE. I think there was a stat out there where he has held the championship like 80% of his time while being signed to WWE from the WWE UK through the NXT up into the main roster. That's got to be pretty intimidating, especially when you're looking at, like I said, Nick Aldis, who hasn't wrestled in 3 years. But during that segment, it got broken up. A lot of producers came out. Security comes out and tries to split them up. But it's, you have 2 different matches during that segment that's going to be in SummerSlam. What did you think about that?
Um, I think it was pretty smart, having Gunther jump in, the Finn and Sammy, segment. Uh, Finn and Sammy they were at each other's throats. And, but while watching Nick Aldis, tear down that ramp, attacking Gunther, I think that is how you build heat for a match. And they were building heat for 2 matches at the same exact time.
Yeah,
Uh, he reminded Gunther that he's not just some executive in a suit, but he used to be a former world heavyweight champion. Uh, and right before he reminded Gunther of that, he had Gunther, they had Gunther acting like this untouchable, like, bully, you know? Because I think he attacked them because he feels like that he should be a number 1 contender for for the championship match, but instead it's either going to be Sammy or Finn. And just the heat building up for those 2 matches. I think the physical intensity going into their match and going into Finn versus Sammy, I think it's going to be at an all-time high. I don't even know who I want to win.
yeah, that's you have the last real good guy going against the leader of the Balor Club. During that promo though, they both made very valid points. Because Finn was the inaugural Universal Champion in WWE. where he
10 years
defeated
ago.
Rollins. Yeah, where he defeated Seth Rollins and immediately had to vacate the title due to injury on that Monday night, his shoulder. I actually still remember that. I was so stoked for Finn. Watched him in NXT when he came out as the Demon and defeated Kevin Owens for that title. I was so stoked for that.
Mm,
Then to see, I mean, he was literally on a trajectory to the stratosphere when he came into the main roster. And that completely got derailed with that injury that he sustained. I think it took him out for like 8 months. And, he really never had the same push since then. And then on
exactly.
the other hand, you look at Sami Zayn, where he was the NXT champion. And then Kevin Owens takes that title from him. He goes into the main roster. He didn't really have the trajectory that Finn had, but I mean, he had some pretty good pushes there when he was the United States champion, when he was Intercontinental champion, when he was part of the bloodline, coming back out, when he defeated Gunther for the IC title after 666 days. Um, so, like, he never had that opportunity to get that world championship until a few weeks ago. And I believe his was also 10 years. So they both had very good, valid points. And, as much as I would love to see Sammy get that number one contendership, my heart is pulling for Finn. Um, Finn hasn't really tasted too much championships, uh, single championships in the past couple of years. He's been a tag team champion multiple times, but never really has had that push for a singles. And he's pretty hot right now. And then, seeing the Gunther and Nick Aldis feud hit a totally different level. As much as I would love to see Aldis win cleanly, if he does win clean, I think that's going to take some momentum from Gunther. I can see
Mm.
Aldis winning, maybe even coming to a DQ. Uh, maybe someone else gets involved in it that we haven't seen in a while. But Gunther can't lose clean. He is the villain of villains right now, and we have to keep that going because there's not too many true heels in the wrestling business for WWE at this point in time. And then we had a tag team match. The inaugural United States Women's Champion, Miss Chelsea Green, and the current United States Champion, Tiffany Stratton, going against the baddies, B-Fab and Michin. Um, I did like the way that their gear coordinated with each other. They really did complement each other. And the funny thing about it is both of these ladies are in that interim women's championship ladder match that's happening on night 2 of SummerSlam.
Mm.
Um, you know, we've seen for the past couple weeks how they've been teaming up and looking pretty good, becoming friends when initially didn't look like it was going to happen. And then you have Michin and B-Fab. You know, for the life of me, I still, Michin's a very good wrestler, and I believe she should have her own singles push. I mean, Christ, no more than a couple of years ago, she was in that inaugural United States Women's Championship finals. Um, but I don't know why they put them with Jade Cargill. I don't understand that point of it. But anyways, uh, Chelsea takes the loss for the team. Jade comes out. We then see Charlotte Flair. We had some after match activities happen between Meechin, B-Fab, Chelsea Green, and Tiffany Stratton as Charlotte looked at Jade while she was standing in the ring. What did you think about that segment?
Um, I think that match, I feel like maybe WWE was trying to give us like an appetizer, uh, r- maybe like a little taste uh, of what they're going to give us for SummerSlam. Uh, After the bell, Chelsea and Tiffany pull Michin and B-Fab out of the ring, and then the brawl straight into the crowd. Uh, so that leaves Jade alone in the center, right? And then out comes Charlotte Flair.
Yeah,
Uh, Charlotte strutted down in all black, stared down Jade, and like they traded blows. Uh, she nearly takes her head off with that big boot. Um, so I think like that sequence, I think it accomplished three huge things. The first thing is that I think it kept Michin and B-Fab strong as a unit. Uh,
mhm,
so so that's the first thing. The second thing is that it built massive heat for Chelsea to pass as this arrogant character. And the third thing is that I think it made the tension between Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair uh, feel like feel like maybe like a bomb that's ready to explode in SummerSlam. So I think that is a good booking for a go home show.
yes. I mean, this is a match that fans have been clamoring for weeks, probably before even WrestleMania between Jade and Charlotte Flair. Uh, I like Charlotte Flair is the most athletic woman that I've seen in the wrestling ring in the past 10 years. We have to give Sol Ruka a little bit of time to polish her skills up. But Charlotte
Hmm.
is she's the total package as far as athleticism, strength, the way she does shit. Jade is just extreme powerhouse. I mean, it was like she was chiseled from granite. And to have these two styles collide with each other, I mean, I'm frothing at the bit. I really am. Uh, we've seen Jade's progression when she started with AEW, and at the time was the longest reigning TBS Women's Champion there. She had an undefeated streak that was just unbelievable. It actually rivaled Asuka's. And then she goes straight to the main roster um, when she signed with WWE, and you know she held the women's championship. But at that particular time, I don't think it was the right move. While she had the look, she didn't have everything else that was needed for it. And defeating Tiffany Stratton for that title and holding it, as she did, I don't think really helped her too much. When she lost the title, she got a break, comes back, she has the baddies, and it looks like she's really, really put in some extreme work on both the mic, on her moves, polishing them up. Um, so this one here, like, I am so torn. I have no idea what's going to happen when these two Goliaths line up and lock horns. Um, then we had another tag team match. We had the WWE Tag Champions, Damian Priest and R-Truth, going against the AAA Tag Team Champions, the War Raiders, Ivar and Eric. Uh, this was for all the chips. Titles are on the line. Could have had us a dual tag champion there on either team. A lot of activity. Uh, Priest and R-Truth, they've held these titles now for a couple months, and while they're not always featured on TV, they're in the ring. They're always featured on TV in some sort of segment. Um, the War Raiders, you know, when they won these titles back in June, I wasn't for sure if we were going to see them back in WWE ring until those titles, were lost or something. And they look great. They look great. They matched up perfectly with them. It ended up becoming a no contest due to just total chaos. Um, and then after the fact, we see the legendary Haku with his boys, Talatanga and Tangaloa. And, it's kind of intimidating when you look at the size of Talatanga, especially going against like Damian Priest isn't a very small guy at all. And he just towered him. They ended up taking everyone out, holding both sets of tag team titles. And Haku was in the middle of them. I'm kind of curious to see where this goes. What is your thoughts on it?
Um, I think it's great that Haku is back. I think it was good that Tala and Tonga, they cleared the ring, and then having, one of the most dangerous men in literally wrestling history, uh, walk out to stand with them. Uh, that's royalty. That's pro wrestling royalty. Uh, Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga, them stepping away from Solo Sikoa, I think it was a bold move. But bringing out their father, uh, the legendary Haku, I think it gives them instant credibility. Having a Hall of Fame enforcer backing them up makes the tag team division uh like more dangerous. But I don't know if it was just me, but did that Green Bay, Wisconsin crowd sound dead to you when their music hit?
Yes, it did. Um, that crowd wasn't as hot as I figured it was going to be, especially being the go home show. It seemed like there was a lot of dead noise throughout the night.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if they were waiting for what we'll talk about here shortly, or whatnot. But when you see like, especially like Haku, like he doesn't do a lot of appearances, and to see Haku do what he does, and as you stated, one of the most dangerous men in wrestling history, and that's been noted many times. I remember an interview with the Undertaker a few years back, and they were asking him a question, like if he was ever in a situation that he didn't think he could handle by himself, which one wrestler would he want by his side? Me, I would think it'd been like Hulk Hogan or something like that. And he said no, Haku. He's seen Haku clear out a bar by himself. Said he was just a monster of a man. And as stated too, like he is a Hall of Famer, he is a legend. Um, it was just, it was a nice scene, especially there at the end where he's in the middle of them with that staff, and, flanked by both his boys. Um, but yeah, I'm just curious to see which way this is going to roll off in the future. If we are going to have maybe a triple threat match for the tag titles. Um, if the boys are going to go down to Mexico, if they're going to stay on SmackDown and go after Damian and R-Truth, kind of curious. Um, then we had a segment there where, of course, they've been building up the Brock and Alba, and this is like they were talking about the Hell in the Cell. They were talking about Brock having two matches in the cell, being undefeated, both against The Undertaker. They were talking about Obafemi, the way he destroyed Brock at WrestleMania, and he took 7 F5s before he finally laid down for the Beast Incarnate. But that was a pretty good vignette. Then we had another match here for a championship, which was the AAA World Cruiserweight Champion Ray Phoenix putting his title on the line against the Judgment Day's JD McDonough. Um, you know, JD, the guy can wrestle. He's a very good mat technician. He's in the past few weeks has definitely been put into some very high positioning on the card. I mean, while they all haven't gone his way, uh, he's been looking strong. And I was kind of curious to see if Ray was actually going to drop that title to JD, and then you'd have JD and Dom in AAA being a
Hmm.
champion. Uh, but Ray Phoenix has been a very strong champion since he won this title back in June. He's been featured a lot on AAA, uh, not so much on SmackDown until recently. Um, but the match was exactly what you would expect. It was nonstop. What did you think of that?
Um, so Ray Phoenix defeated JD to retain the AAA World Cruiserweight title. Uh, Dominic kept trying to cheat, but the ref ejected him. Um, and then when he ejected him, he fell right into the path of Danhausen and his mini Hausens.
Yep, these little minions.
They beat him up and set him running, and then Phoenix wins. Uh,
Yeah, that Mexican muscle buster, man.
Dominic getting humiliated right before their match in SummerSlam. It's classic comedy setup, right? Uh, when they had Danhausen and Joe Hendry on Monday night, um,
Oh, that was bad.
a lot of people were saying that was cringe, right?
Yeah,
I had a hard time watching it, but if I if I had to say one person that liked it, one person, it was my son.
oh yeah?
His eyes were glued on the screen. So I realized from that moment on that WWE in some way they know what they're doing. So segments like that are for the kids, but segments like Brock versus Oba, Cody versus Punk, Seth versus Roman, those are for the older guys like us.
Yeah.
Because like a few minutes ago when we were talking about Haku, uh putting Haku in wrestling TV in 2026, the kids over there they don't even know who Haku was. But people like you and me, we both know that Haku was one of the most dangerous men to ever lace up a pair of boots.
Yeah.
So so that's classic comedy setup for Dominic and I mean the match already itself is comedy, right? So that match is for people is for kids like it's for kids like them. And then
it, it really brings them in, and now, as the time goes on, they're going to become the wrestling fans that you and I are.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's
like
very smart.
in the meantime, it's going to be like that. So like what us older guys are seeing as cringeworthy, it's what those kids are seeing as entertainment. And
Hmm.
I think that WWE and the creative team are trying to find the balance between that so that they can find something to entertain the kids and also something to entertain the older folk. Because when they
Yeah.
show segments back then, like on Monday night when they were showing stuff from like 10 years ago and stuff from the Shield and all that stuff, right? Those kids don't even know that. They don't even know what's going on unless they watch old videos from YouTube or something. But we know because that happened
Yep.
10, 15 years ago. So I think Triple H and the creative team are trying to find this balance so that everybody gets entertained at the same time. So whatever we find as cringe, it's what the kids find as comedy. And at the same time uh for that match, the AAA title match, it keeps Ray Phoenix looking like this dominant cruiserweight champion, while it also escalates the ridiculousness between Dominic and Danhausen for SummerSlam. So I think it's perfect for something in the mid card range.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't agree with you even more. Um, I didn't think of it from that aspect about the young children, but he is so over with the kids. I mean,
Hmm.
he is so over with the kids. People who are not traditional wrestling fans like you and I. My
Yeah, like your
wife,
wife, right?
yeah,
Like your wife.
every time my wife sees Danhausen, and she's glued to the TV. As soon as the segment is done, she's gone doing
Yeah,
whatever else.
exactly. See, so people who are not even traditional wrestling fans,
Yeah, yeah.
they like the entertainment aspect of it.
Oh yeah, she's always like, "Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute." Yeah, absolutely. And and Danhausen, man, I mean, if you've seen our San Diego Comic-Con reveals, man, he's got 5 new figures coming out. That's unheard of.
That's
Unheard.
insane.
Yeah, and not let alone like the fanatics, special fanatics setup they have for him too. I mean, to come out, with all those pieces. Most people, get 1 or 2 throughout a year. He's getting 3 dropped at once. So
Hmm.
I mean, you can't get much more marketable than that. Um, then we had another piece of the interim women's championship ladder match, the match between Lash Legend and Julia. I will say this: I was disappointed in this match.
Hmm.
Um, Lash, she's on the rise. She's a monster. Julia, when she was part of Stardom, was unstoppable. She goes to NXT, has a huge push in NXT. She gets brought up to the main roster, immediately thrown into the fire, and she can handle it. She is an amazing women's wrestler. Her striking abilities, her promos need some work, which is why I believe she was teamed up with Kiana James there for a while. But this was a squash match. I don't even think it went 2 minutes. Uh, you know, Julia gets caught up in the finisher for Lash Legend, um, takes the spill and the 1, 2, 3, and Lash is now part of this women's ladder match for the interim women's championship. Um, I don't understand how the Lash extension got applied so easily, but it was, I think, under 2 minutes. What was your thoughts on that one?
Um, I was upset too. It could have been anyone but Julia. You know what I mean? Uh, I I completely understand why all of us are upset. Because when you bring in an international superstar like Julia, you expect someone like her to be featured in a 15-minute classic where she can showcase her style, her hard-hitting style. Um, and just seeing her get caught in 2 minutes, it just feels like a slap in the face to anyone who followed her career, even before the WWE. To someone like Lash Legend,
Yeah.
um,
I mean,
and
I see pushing newer stars. I understand that. I wouldn't have mind if Julia lost, but the way she lost, it was so quick. Like it was, like I said, under 2 minutes. Uh, you know, I I 100% agree with you. An international legend to be destroyed pretty much like she's nothing. Like I said, that was a little upsetting to me. I didn't particularly care for that too much. I figured, we would have had at least a 10-minute match so she could have done some more. I but that's why they're the bookers and we're the couch quarterbacks.
I mean, I don't I'm not against them trying to push Lash Legend to the roof, right? But do I agree with doing it at Julia's expense? Absolutely not. It could have been anybody but Julia.
Yeah.
Um, I think they could have gone her over without completely deflating Julia's momentum. If if you're not going to put Julia in the ladder match, at least give her like 6 or 7 minutes of a competitive fight where Lash Legend has to cheat or something to win. So booking Julia like like she's like this enhancement talent, even for just one night, it just frustrates people like us. You know, it frustrates the fan base. So I
Yeah,
think for this match that happened last night, I think the pressure is on Triple H and the creative team right now. Um, I feel like they owe Julia something for giving her that. I feel like they owe her uh, a proper program with real TV time to rebuild that energy that she once had.
full-heartedly agree on that one. Absolutely agree on that one.
She's too talented to be sitting on the sidelines.
100%. I mean, like I said, if you haven't seen any of Julia's matches, go to YouTube and check out Stardom. She was, or even in the newer stuff, check out her NXT run when she was in NXT. I mean, yeah, you know, I don't know if it's because she cut her braids out and started going with the straight hair. They said, "Oh, you can't have that now." But yeah, I mean, like definitely, it was definitely a little upsetting. Then we had the one-on-one between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, which I'm assuming is going to be your main event for night one of SummerSlam for the heavyweight world championship. Cody Rhodes comes out to the ring, starts walking down, starts, doing his normal stuff. And then we hear the cult of personality. The WWE World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk comes out, cuts off Cody. They
Mhm.
get into a back and forth, where they start talking about stuff in the past, where blah, 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 this, that, and everything else. And this is where the crowd got hot. Right here at the bitter end. CM Punk does it feel great to be in Wisconsin? Cody Rhodes does his, what do you want to talk about? They're both cheering back and forth. The crowd's going hot. And then it gets serious. So they showed a clip of what happened on the previous night at a house show, where after the match, which Cody and Punk won, Cody elbowed Punk in the face. I mean, he said it was an accident, kind of like when CM Punk flipped his title over his shoulder and whacked Cody in the face at Saturday night's main event. Now, honestly, I do feel that that was an accident that happened at Saturday night's main event. I don't think that was done intentionally. I think that was purely accidental. But it's been building up. It's like a volcano, and it's getting ready to erupt. And it's been building up for the weeks previous to that too. They end up taking off the jackets and going to blows. Spills onto the ring, cleared off the announcer's table, getting freaking slammed on it back and forth. So, he had every producer, every security out there. This match I'm extremely excited for. At first, I wasn't. At first, I thought for sure the main event was going to be Oba and Brock for night one, due to the fact of the stipulation of the match, due to the fact of the build, due to the fact of what's transpired through the previous weeks, months since WrestleMania. But seeing the Cody Punk interactions over the past couple of weeks and how heated it's been getting, from straight up shooting at Fanatics Fest to after the house shows, I am completely excited for this match. Uh, I would hope, as Punk said, that there are going to be bitter enemies during this match, but afterwards it's up to Cody to decide if they're still going to be friends. Cody comes back with, a couple of weeks ago, you said that you're not here to make friends, you're only here to make money. And Punk did say, you're absolutely correct. I'm not here to make friends, but the friends that I've had along the way, I'd like to keep. So it still seems like Punk is going in this as a face, and Cody, the QB1, Um, he's been really teetering on that heel line here since the beginning of the year. He's done some heelish tactics, which, this is something that I know me myself have been wanting to see. And this is like the Bullet Club Cody Rhodes, the ROH Cody Rhodes. But I don't think it's the right time, to be honest. He's still a merchandise mover. And typically, when you become a heel, you don't move as much merch. You don't do the kissing of the fans and holding the babies and all that kind of stuff there. But if you've never seen Cody as a heel, you need to check out New Japan Pro Wrestling. You
Hmm.
need to check out ROH, Ring of Honor, because heel Cody is one bad mother trucker. What were your thoughts?
Um, my thoughts on the segment itself,
Yeah,
I think that is the perfect way. Well, the Green Bay crowd reaction to move to the side, right? Um, I think it could have been in a better place with better crowd reaction, but I think the the booking of that, I think that's how that is the perfect way to close a go home show for the biggest event of the summer. There's no contract signed, no long speeches, just two literal alpha males, you know, who absolutely despise each other, uh, throwing fists back to back until the broadcast cut off.
yeah,
Um, I feel like they were trying to make the Green Bay crowd go unhinged, but I guess they failed getting that reaction. But the hype for that WWE match is, I think right now it's at an absolute uh like a fever pitch. Um, from top to bottom on that segment, I think they delivered. SmackDown delivered. Uh, uh, why I think Cody Rhodes heel turn is a bad idea right now. Uh, so wrestling fans, and I'm like obviously me and you have done this before. We love to do fantasy booking.
yes.
We love to fantasy book heel turns the second a top baby face has been on top for more than like 6 months. We've done it with John Cena for the past 15 years.
Hmm.
When is John Cena's heel turn gonna come? And they've done it with Cody when he was in AEW. Uh, and now we're doing it with SmackDown. But there is a massive difference. In AEW, Cody was getting booed out of the building because the gimmicks that he was doing, it wasn't clicking with that specific audience. But in WWE, uh, the crowd in WWE, the crowd in the live events, the kids, the families, they're screaming their lungs out for Cody Rhodes every single week because they all love Cody. To me, I think he's like the modern day John Cena. He's like the ultimate ambassador for the company right now. And like you said, he's the biggest merchandise mover on the roster right now. Um, you would think that maybe he like some of his shirts like they don't sell, so you would just throw them in a mystery bag for people to buy, and then they'll just get them in a mystery bag. But no, they actually move to the point where you can't even put him in a mystery bag. Uh, if you turn Cody heel today, who takes over that that babyface shot on SmackDown? I mean, Punk has an edge. LA Knight is an anti-hero. Roman is the tribal chief. So, that just leaves Cody to be the anchor of the whole babyface side of the company at this point. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
the
you
in
had
in the CM
three
Punk
baby.
feud with Cody.
Yeah, so you have your
You know
top
what?
three baby face SmackDown right now. You have Cody Rhodes, who's definitely number one. You have CM Punk, who's number two, and you have Danhausen. You got to throw Danhausen in there. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. Like, who who takes that number one spot? Where does that number one spot, like, where does it go to then?
Hmm.
And the crowd is always, singing the song, cheering for him. They love Cody. They really do. And as you said, this is a different atmosphere than what was in AEW and New Japan and Ring of Honor. Uh, the the effect that it would have would be astronomical. You know, when they were talking about John Cena's heel move during the Netflix show Unreal in season one, they pointed that out that, hey, listen, if you go heel, this isn't just changing your wrestling character. This is changing John Cena's personal life also. One of the biggest heel moves that I could think that worked and worked well was back in 1991. Sergeant Slaughter, the real American hero, when they turned him heel to become the Iraqi sympathizer, take the title, and go against Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. That stretch of time, Slaughter said, was the most difficult he ever had. Because while, wrestling is portrayed, it's gimmicks, there's real life aspects that happened. He was saying that he was getting death threats at his house, that people were going to come and murder his family. He actually got to the point where he said he told his wife to take her and the kids and leave, go somewhere, don't even tell them where it's at, just to be safe. And that totally changed his landscape as a character. And it hurt him for years until, the Attitude Era came out and he was the commissioner. Can you imagine something like that happening to Cody Rhodes, where he drives around on a tour bus with his face printed on it everywhere he goes? If he goes heel, you're going to know exactly where he is at any given time. And some of these fans, they can't separate the performer from the actual person itself.
Hmm.
You see these horror stories of people, you know, sending out letters, sending this out, typing, making threats all the time. I mean, Christ, that happened to Britt Baker in AEW, who is an actual dentist who has an actual practice down in Florida, where she came out a few weeks ago and said that she's not going to be doing her dentistry work as often now because she's been receiving death threats to her office. You know, I mean, granted, I cry a little bit too, when I see something emotional happen, and that's what wrestling does. Wrestling hits your emotions. That's why we're so passionate about it. But to take it to the next level of like sending out death threats and stuff like that, that's a whole nother realm. So to see Cody, turn heel, I don't think it's the right time. But you should definitely check out his older stuff that he has done previously in
Oh
his
yeah.
other productions.
So
Because
when
it's,
so when the right time does come, then you know exactly what you're in for.
yes, yes. As soon as you start seeing the sales decline, as soon as you start seeing, people start booing more and more, then, there it is. Then that's what to be expected.
But we will see that when that time does come, if WWE will water it down so that it's not an actual heel turn that we were expecting or not.
Yeah. 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 I'm kind of curious myself to see how that's going to pan out. Um, but I mean, the last two heel turns they didn't really work out as well as they had expected. The John Cena heel turn did not work out at all. He cut some great promos, and some of those promos he had, I thought were absolutely spot on, basically from the heart, because, I mean, you know, you seen it, you heard it from the crowds, let's go Cena sucks, blah, 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 for years, talking about, he can't wrestle and everything else. And then the last one they had was the Randy Orton heel turn that happened previously the past year. It did not work, and he hasn't been seen since. So you got to take it very carefully and very cautiously with Cody. But that's how, SmackDown ended, was was on the building up that match to where it's at now, and I'm pretty stoked for it. I'm actually more stoked for that title match than I am for the Roman Seth one, to be honest with you.
No, really?
Yeah, yeah, honestly, I am. Um,
Well,
I've been a
speaking of that match, uh, wait, I'm sorry, go on.
yeah. Well, you know what? Know what, while we're at it, let's talk about our SummerSlam predictions and see how we have, see what we got going on. So on night one, we have the six-man tag between LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys, aka Powerhouse Hobbs, going against the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso. Obviously, the Bloodline, they're family, so they kind of know what's going on. And then you have the other team with LA Knight, Solo, and Royce Keys. Uh, Solo being part of the original Bloodline, being their enforcer, LA Knight and Royce Keys being thrown into the mix. I want to see LA Knight's team become victorious. I want to see LA Knight get a push. I want to see him possibly get put into the main title picture. Royce Keys, we seen, he debuted at Royal Rumble. He was really hasn't too much on TV until the past couple of weeks. He's had segments backstage, but especially between the Bloodline and Solo on, talking about how they grew up, him and being Jacob being very close growing up, him and Solo. Um, and then you have Solo, who's trying to take out this new incarnation of the Bloodline. And then on the other side, you have Solo's brothers, the twins, Jay and Jimmy Uso, and their cousin, the new enforcer, Jacob Fatu, who became part of the Bloodline after he could not defeat Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. What are your thoughts?
I'm predicting that this is all just a work for Solo.
Ooh, so you're feeling a turn happening here? You think he's going to turn on the boys?
I'm predicting that Solo turns on LA Knight and Royce Keys and realigns with the Bloodline.
And you know what? That's kind of funny you say that because Ellie Knight has been predicting that since, since Solo first gave him the offer. He's like, listen, I've read this story. I know how this story is going to end. But yeah, he does end up teaming with Solo and Royce Keys. Um, and you know what? During one of the Raws, when Jimmy and Jacob came out and was trouncing on Ellie Knight, he said, stop, 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 and he did come out and he did throw up the one, which immediately turned into the Samoan spike and he took out Jimmy. So I could see this happening too. I mean, because where's Solo going to go if this feud ends? What's next on the horizon for Solo?
He already lost the Tongas.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. There's no more MFTs. It's just him. So I think that's a pretty good prediction there. So we're gonna have a turn happening, and LA Knight isn't gonna get that win. Hmm. And then we have Gunther versus Nick Aldis in a regular singles match. Um, as much as I would love Nick Aldis to win clean, he's not. He's had some dirty tactics when he was part of NWA, so I could see this turning to where if he does win, it's not going to be a clean win, and Gunther is not going to hurt him at all. But I am predicting a Nick Aldis win, not clean.
Hmm. I
What do
I
you?
I I want Nick Aldis to win, I think we all want Nick Aldis to win. We all want him to pull off the shocker, right? But I think Gunther is gonna take it. Uh, we all love seeing Nick Aldis, lace the boots back up. But Gunther right now, he's the ring general. You know, you don't you don't sacrifice his protective aura even for a hot general manager storyline. Uh, and I think Gunther is gonna be the victor in this one.
Okay. So you think it's going to be a clean victory?
Uh, I think it will be a clean victory just because you're saying it's not.
Okay. All right. So we're both 1-1 then. None of us are on the same page yet. Speaking about Paige, the 6-woman tag team, the Bella twins, Nikki and Brie Bella, and Paige going against Fatal Influence, JC Jane, Laney Reed, and Fallon Henley. Fatal Influence, man, you talk about a hot team coming up from NXT. They have been causing chaos since they've arrived. They're now the new tag team champions, going against the former, Hall of Famers, former tag team champs, uh, Brie and Paige. Uh, I tell you, I love the Bella Twins. I love what they've done for the women's division. I love Paige in all forms. Uh, but my girls, Fatal Influence, is going to come out victorious. And it's not going to be a clean win again. I think that Paige, Brie, and Nikki being left out due to injury, and she's always been a heel to begin with. I think they're going to turn on Paige. And Fatal Influence is going to come out on top.
Hmm,
Thoughts?
that's interesting. I never I never thought about that one. Um, I want Bella twin. I want the Bella twins and Paige to win, but I think Fatal Influence is gonna win. And I think that is a good idea because that's how you book for the future.
Yeah.
Um, you bring back legendary nostalgia like the Bellas and Paige, to draw the eyes. But then you use them to elevate, full-time current people like like the Fatal Influence. So put over the young talent at this point. I think that's how I see it in this match. But 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 seeing the Bella twins turn on Paige, that's interesting. I've never heard that one before.
So at least we agree on one thing, Fatal Influence coming out with a win. Um, then we have a singles match for the Women's World Championship. The greatest women's world championship of all time. Liv Morgan going against the genius of the sky, Io Sky. After she won the Queen of the Ring, she immediately set her sights on Liv Morgan. While I love Io, I think she's probably the best women's wrestler currently on roster. You're going to have Liv Morgan retain her title.
Uh,
What do you think?
I'm loving this because I'm picking Io Sky.
Ooh, ooh,
Uh, I
Io.
I think I think Io winning the Queen of the Ring was not an accident. Um, Liv Morgan's reign, it's been fun watching that, but right now Io is the best worker in the division right now. Putting the title on Io Sky, it gives the Raw Women's division uh a workhorse champion that's also dominant uh heading into the fall season. So I think this might be the time for Io to take it from Liv.
Okay. So you've got Io, I got Liv, and then we're going to go on to probably the most anticipated match in SummerSlam Night 1, the Hell of the Cell, Obafemi, Brock Lesnar, the Ruler versus the Beast, the rubber match, 1-1 so far. I believe that Oba is going to win. I believe we're going to have a turn with Paul Heyman. I believe Paul Heyman is going to backstab the Beast. It's happened before.
But you think that's how he's going to end his career?
I didn't say he's going to end his career. I don't think Brock is going to retire. I really
Oh,
don't. I think
you don't think so?
I think the setting is perfect. I don't think he's going to retire. I have this gut feeling that he's not going to retire in his hometown. But I
Yeah,
do see that slimy son of a bee, Paul Heyman, stabbing Brock again, aligning himself with Oba, or trying to align himself with Oba, I should say. Because I don't know if Oba will take his offer. But if you look at Paul Heyman, he always goes for the hot ticket. He's done it, when he aligned with Brock 25 years ago. He did it with CM Punk. He did it with Seth. He did it with Roman. He did it with Braun. So I could see Paul turning his back on Brock. Oba gets the win. And this sets up, in all reality, this could be a feud that goes on for freaking months.
maybe up till Mania.
Exactly. Um, you know, but the push, I don't know how much over Oba can get, to be honest. But taking a loss again can be deflating. Getting the win by any means necessary, I don't think necessarily will make him a heel. But man, can you imagine if Oba became a heel?
That'd be a
Like,
really scary heel.
holy Christ. You'd have a monster heel on Raw. You have your monster heel on SmackDown. I'm just saying. So I can see Obafemi getting the win in the cell. What do you think?
I want Brock to win, but I have to listen to my heart versus my brain, right? So, uh, I want Brock to win, but I think Obafemi is gonna take it. Uh, because I see Brock right now as this like ultimate final boss. Um, and Obafemi, he's the future of the company right now. So if
Yeah,
you put Oba in Hell in a Cell with Brock Lesnar and Oba slays the Beast, then you just created a superstar overnight that is literally unkillable.
for
And
for
I think, yeah, I think that's a right business call to make if Obafemi
yeah.
wins, even though I want Brock to win. My
Oh,
heart wants Brock, but my
yeah.
brain
I've
wants
been a
Oba.
Brock fan for a long time. But you think about what Brock did, okay? So Brock has had, losses after losses after losses. But because of what he did when he first got there, his aura is untouchable. He could lose 20 matches in a row and people will still be clamoring for the beast incarnate. So we both agree with Obafemi getting the win. And then we're going to go with what I assume to be the main event of night one. CM Punk, the best in the world, putting his title on the line against the American Nightmare, the QB1, Cody Rhodes. While I think Cody is deserving, he truly is. He's been a champion for a long time since he's been there. This will be his fourth title reign if he wins. I think CM Punk is going to come up victorious. I think that CM Punk is going to win, and this is going to be another stress fracture in the face of Cody Rhodes, and it's going to take him possibly to another point of turning heel. Thoughts?
I'm with you on this one because I also picked CM Punk. Uh, after seeing that insane, pull apart brawl on SmackDown last night, I'm locking in on CM Punk to retain because I just don't think he's losing that title yet. You know,
No.
Cody Rhodes is on the hunt, but Punk's current reign, ever since he won that title, I think that reign still has too much gas left in the tank. Uh, so I'm expecting a bloody war, a bloody physical war, but I think Punk walking out with the belt is gonna. I think that's money right there.
Yes. So here we go. So let's give the rundown now. All right. So we both agree that CM Punk is going to retain. We both agree that Oba is going to slay the beast. We both agree that Fatal Influence is going to take out the Bellas and Paige. Where we disagree at is the women's title match. I have Liv, you have Io. In the six-man tag team match, I have Team LA Knight, yeah, and you have the Bloodline. And then in the singles match, I have Nick Aldis winning not clean, and you have Gunther. Okay, let's head over to night two, where we have the number one contenders match. The last real good guy, Sami Zayn, going against the leader of the Balor Club, Finn Balor. I think there's too much left for Sami to win. I think Finn Balor is going to win this match, and I think he's going to win it clean, and that's going to drive Sami absolutely berserk.
If that happens, do you think we're going to see 2020 COVID Sammy again, where he
The
did
paranoid Sami?
where he was just absolutely like crazy and out of his mind?
Yes, I honestly believe that this could be a tail of the tape on that one there. I honestly believe that could definitely be in the cards, especially with Balor winning and driving Sami absolutely crazy. So I predict Finn Balor to be your number one contender for that title and then have one hell of a match with CM Punk.
That's interesting because I think Sammy's gonna win.
Ultimate underdog. Okay,
So
how's he gonna win?
I want Balor to win, but and I think that Finn deserves every spotlight. But right now, the crowd is completely hooked on Sami Zayn's underdog chase for the world championship. Right now they're hooked. So I think they need to take advantage of that. And I think Sami winning the match, it just sets up like this title match to be really emotional down the road. And I feel like WWE they don't see Finn's potential right now. They should have seen it a really long time ago. But I feel like right now they don't see it. And until the day that they finally convince me that they finally see it and they start using him right, then I think that's when they're going to uh put a rocket on his back and climb up to the fucking moon. Uh, and honestly, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they finally see it and Finn Balor wins right now. Like I said, I want him to win, but I think just by how everything is being booked right now, with the crowd being behind Sami Zayn's back right now, uh, with this whole underdog chase, he just won the belt and he lost it. I think that Sami Zayn is going to be winning uh, this match.
Okay, all right. Now let's go to the other non-title match here. The Human Money's on a Pole match between the guy who's as over as you could possibly be, Danhausen, versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio. You know, I don't think it hurts Danhausen if he loses. And as much as to the chagrin of the younger fans and my wife, I see Dirty Dom taking this match. I see him getting his money back. I see this storyline ending with Dominic Mysterio holding his cash, but the cash isn't the cash that he gave Danhausen. It's going to be the Danhausen Bucks. So I have Dirty Dom taking this one. What about you?
I think Dirty Dom is also gonna win. I think there's gonna be plenty of hilarious moments, comedy spots, but I think at the end, I think Dominic is going to win. Uh, I want them to use the briefcase of teeth and fake money. Uh, and I want Dom. I think Dom is gonna win dirty, while Danhausen curses him. Uh, just for the entertainment, obviously. But at the end of that match, I think Dominic is gonna take the win.
All right. All right. Well, let's go for a match that really wasn't on the cards until the past couple weeks. The United States Championship match with
Mm.
current champion Trick Williams going against Baron Corbin. You know, when Baron Corbin came back a couple of weeks ago, took out both Trick and Carmelo Hayes during their match on SmackDown. I was kind of like, what? Because Corbin, if you don't know, is also known as Bishop Dyer in MLW, part of the tag team Skyscrapers with Donovan Dijak. And they're currently the tag team champions under the Freebird rules. Trick Williams can't get no hotter neither. I mean, since he appeared on the main roster, he has just, had that crowd at the palm of his hands. So much so that he got himself his own championship belt with a white fur on it. I see Baron Corbin taking out Trick Williams and getting the title. And I think it's going to be a bloodbath. We haven't seen Little Yachty in a little bit. So not having the whoop stick or the trick stick there might play to a disadvantage, but I see Baron Corbin, the veteran, getting his first singles title since he's left. What do you think?
Um, I feel like it's a little too quick. I feel like Trick Williams uh is gonna win. Um,
Mm.
right now he's a champion, but he's not just a champion. He's a full blown star in the making right now. Every time his music hits, the arena is doing the whoop that trick chant. Uh, and you know that kind of connection with the crowd is it's lightning in a bottle. WWE has to take advantage of that. You don't interrupt that momentum during an event like SummerSlam. Uh, you know, loving a veteran like Corbin is great, but predicting Trick Williams to retain, I think that's money. Uh, Trick Williams walks out of SummerSlam with the U.S. title, and the crowd chanting "Whoop that trick." I think that's the way it's going to be going on that night.
You know what's interesting too is honestly, Trick Williams's entrance music never says "whoop that trick." That was something that was started in NXT from the
Uh-huh.
chant,
Hmm.
but his entrance music doesn't have any words to it at all.
Nope.
And, and it's deafening when you hear that "whoop that trick." Um, but I gotta see him lose. You know, I'm a heel man. I love the villains. Love the villains.
I mean,
So you
like I said, I want Corbin to win, but I think Trick Williams got it.
Okay, so you have Trick Williams retaining his title, and I have a new U.S. champ. Speaking about champs, how about the next match for the Intercontinental title? Champion Penta going against Chad Gable. You know, I think they struck the iron a little too late on this one here. Chad Gable coming off the unmasking in AAA back in June would have been the time to strike. As much as I want to see Chad Gable get to IC championship, I think Penta's going to retain. What do you think?
I think Chad got it.
Man, I tell you, we ain't hitting nothing, are we? I mean, we are polar opposites, and this is perfect.
You've seen his journey, uh, ever since his mask came off in Mexico. Um, and this past Raw, seeing Gable breaking out of Rusev's accolade, it just shows that technical leverage that he got on Raw. So I think they just, marinated Chad Gable like he's primed for this. Uh, Winning the Intercontinental title in his home, like it's not just Brock's home, but it's also Chad Gable's home.
Yeah.
Um, while watching him win the title in his home of Minneapolis, I think that would be a storybook moment. Seeing Gable's journey from unmasking himself in Mexico all the way to SummerSlam, for the Intercontinental title, I think that's just a storybook moment. I think Gable's going to take the gold for this one.
Now, do you agree that he's not as hot as he was when he left AAA? Or do you think he's just as hot?
I think he's not as hot.
So you're thinking like they didn't strike when they should have, just like I am. Yeah, which is why I think that, I want to see Penta, retain and then have Chad build up a little more and then come back and then, eventually get that. But you're going with Gable. I'm staying with Penta. And then we have another match. This one here is for the interim women's championship in a ladders match with contestants current U.S. women's champion Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Chelsea Green, Charlotte Flair, and Lash Legend. Tiffany Stratton's from Minnesota. No, she's from Wisconsin, might fall. I want to see something that the fans have been cheering for months, and that's Chelsea Green winning this title. Can you imagine how obnoxious Chelsea Green would be as a women's champion, even though it's intern, a women's champion? Holy Christ. You seen what she did when she was the U.S. women's champion, the inaugural, and then when she won it again. I
Mm.
mean, how much more obnoxious can she be? And that's what I want to see. So I'm going with Chelsea Green becoming your new women's world champion, even as an intern.
It's gonna be crazy because I was going to choose Chelsea Green too.
Holy Christ.
Um, I was thinking Chelsea Green or Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte, she does bring that instant main event star power because she's a Flair. But Chelsea Green, grabbing that briefcase in a ladder match, full of people who are high flyers, I think that would be like absolute television entertainment, like you said.
Yeah, I think Charlotte's going to be too locked up with Jade. I don't think her focus is going to be winning the title. I think her focus is going to be hurting Jade Cargill, which then will set up a one-on-one for Survivor Series.
That
Tiffany
makes sense.
Stratton has a championship already. She already has a title. And Lash Legend is in my opinion, too new to hold that title. So I can see something along the lines as she's making her ascent for the championship, Tiffany Stratton takes out Lash Legend for Chelsea to win. And then along the line says, I helped you type of thing. What do you say we run this back, you versus me, at like Survivor Series? So we both have Chelsea Green becoming your new women's world champion. That's awesome. And then we have what we all assume is going to be the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns, your current champion, going against the visionary, the revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins. This one here, I don't know which way I'm going to go. But if you had a gun to my head and told me to pick, I'm going to say Seth Rollins is going to be your new champ. Um, while, Roman Reigns is great, fantastic, he has all the stars going for him. Call me crazy, but I think Seth is going to walk out as your new men's champion. What do you think?
Um, I think that Roman Reigns is on top of the mountain for a reason. And I think Roman Reigns being on top of the mountain is still the biggest draw in WWE right now. Uh, Seth Rollins is going to throw every bit of him at Roman. All the psychological warfare that Seth Rollins is known for, but Roman finding a way to survive all of that and retaining, I think it just keeps the Bloodline universe spinning. So I think just because of Roman being on top of the mountain right now, being the biggest draw in WWE in sports entertainment, I think I'm gonna have to go with Roman Reigns.
Okay, so let's give our rundown for night 2. Uh, you have Sammy, I have Finn for the number 1 contenders match. We both agree on Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus Danhausen on the Human Money's on the Pole match. You have Trick retaining, I have Bearing becoming the new U.S. champ. You have Chad Gable, I have Penta retaining his championship for the Intercontinental Championship. We both agree Chelsea Green for your new Women's World Champion. And we're split again, as I have Seth becoming your new heavyweight champion, and you have Roman retaining his title. So I can't wait to see what happens for the biggest party of the summer here at SummerSlam,
Yeah, I'm
because
looking
we really
forward to it.
didn't match up too often. Not at all. I think totally between both nights, we both have Oba, we both have Punk, we both have Fatal Influence, we both have Chelsea Green, we both have Dominic Mysterio. And then everything else
Wow,
is opposite.
that's interesting.
we got to run this back to see how we did now. So keep your card on file, because I got mine on file here, and we'll see how we did.
All right,
All right, my friend. So this is Chris Canfield, aka Big C,
along with
and the
your
Filipina killer himself,
the natural John C.
for the NSC Wrestling Gaming Podcast, telling y'all to have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy SummerSlam. Hit us up and let us tell us what you guys thought of it. And peace out.
Yes, sir. See you guys after SummerSlam.